Hi, I'm Alexandra and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing a notebook by Scribbles That Matter. It is an all black paper notebook and they named it Starry Night. I'm very excited to have this notebook. I've always wanted a Scribbles That Matter, but I was swayed by other brands and I've never gotten one. So this is my very first, and I'm excited that it's an all black paper notebook as well, because that way I get to try out two things with this brand. The brand itself and also an all black bullet journal. The cover is absolutely beautiful. I'm of course a little nervous about having a white cover just because it might get dirty, but this looks like it could easily be cleaned. I love the embossing on it, stars and shooting stars, and then you see the word Starry Night in script. So this brings us to the title page. It's a verified Scribbles That Matter journal. Here we have the book plate ownership label. I like that they did it in a dot grid. People that bullet journal often enjoy using the dot grid. It helps with doodling and it also helps with hand lettering. So I'm going to try to do something maybe a little fancy when I fill out this ownership label. The very next page is the key. And if you're new to bullet journaling, the key is very important to help you stay on task, prioritize your to-do list, and just plain be more productive. I like that it not only has a place for all of the bullet symbols, but it also has space for color coding. It's not something that the person that created bullet journaling, writer Carol, uses, but it has definitely been helpful for me. This journal has 3 pages dedicated to the index. I think when I initially started looking at the brand Scribbles That Matter 2 years ago, I was deterred by this index page. I actually prefer journals that are blank, no page numbers, no room for the index or anything. And I prefer to just create it on my own. Having 3 pages for an index is extremely limiting for me because I am very thorough when it comes to writing what I have throughout my journal. And 3 pages is honestly not enough. I typically use about 6. So what I think I'll do in this case is use it up as much as I can. And then wherever I am in my notebook, whether it's the middle or the end, I would just create a continuation of the index from there. This brings us to the actual dot grid pages. Very solid black color with light white dots. You can still see them very clearly, but I imagine that just like white paper with black dots or gray dots, the dots will just sort of disappear as you start creating your spreads. The pages are numbered, so if that's convenient for you, that's definitely a plus. As a standard for most notebooks that are used for bullet journaling, this one comes with 2 ribbon bookmarks, and they're in 2 separate colors, so you can dedicate the black one to something and the white one to something else. What I usually do is I put 1 ribbon on the monthly spread for whatever month we're in, and the other ribbon I use it on the weekly spread. That way I can easily refer to my planner pages. I absolutely love the back of this notebook. It reminds me of the doodles that are embossed on the iconic Scribbles That Matter. Actually, those doodles are one of the reasons why I steered away from Scribbles That Matter. While I do like the doodles, I wasn't so sure if I wanted them on the front cover of my bullet journal. And when I was comparing it with the professional version of the Scribbles That Matter, that one seemed too plain. And so that year I ended up going with a dingbat with the bear on the cover. I thought it was a good happy medium. It wasn't as plain as the professional Scribbles That Matter, but also not these super exciting doodles like the iconic version. I feel that the Starry Night cover is that sweet middle as well, but they added those doodles to the back, and I think that just gives the journal a little something extra, a lot of fun. I don't have to constantly look at it at the front, but it's there in the back and it does spark joy. And the pocket kind of blends into that doodle print, but it's there and very nice and sturdy. It's gonna last the entire time you use this journal. I'm flipping back to get to the pen test, and I'm running into this mindfulness page which I knew existed but kind of forgot about until I saw it. And it's just a place where you can reflect on everything that is in your journal. Were you productive? Did it work for you? What changes you need to make? Those are some things that you can put on this page, and when you get your new journal, implement some of those ideas. Here we have a pen test. I don't usually test too many pens, so one page is perfectly fine for me. As I start getting more into my journal, I typically like to buy writing tools that are new to me, and so I definitely will eventually need more room than one page, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. I usually just pick the last page available. Now let's actually get into this test. I'm going to be testing pens that are typically used in the bullet journaling community. This is my first time having a black bullet journal. I do not have every pen and marker imaginable, but I do have a few staples that I want to show you. I am going to be testing Uniball Signo pens in white, gold, and silver. I'm also going to be testing Jelly Roll pens in the metallic line of the Jelly Roll pens. What may be a bit different about this review is that I'm also going to test some items that are a bit more heavy duty, paint markers and inks. And I also want to see how Pallet Pastels by Jane Davenport look in this notebook. It's something that is not commonly used in the bullet journaling community, but it should be. I absolutely love these palette pastels. They're great for just adding a little bit of color here and there, and I mostly use it for background, so I'm really excited to see if they're going to pop on the black paper. Let's start with the Uniball Signo. I've never used these pens before, but after watching a few videos, I decided that I needed to try them, and I'm glad I made this purchase. It looks really good. It goes on smoothly. It's vibrant. These are really great pens. I wanted to try the Jelly Roll Moonlights, but they weren't available at the store, but I did find these metallic pens, and they look really good. What I often don't like about metallic pens is that everything just kind of seems to blend together and look to be the same color, but that's really not the case with these pens. I can see a very different shade in each one of these pens, and I personally feel that it looks even more different in person than it does on camera, especially because I have this image a bit exposed. These Jelly Rolls are vibrant, they're shimmery. I'm glad I made this purchase as well, and I will be buying more pens from the Jelly Roll brand. Now we're going to try some paint markers. I wanted to try Posca markers, and I think what I'll probably do is, as I acquire more materials for my black bullet journal, I am going to do a video specifically on what are some good brands to use, what are some not so good brands. Unfortunately, the Posca markers were not available at the store, and I'm still waiting for them to arrive, but I was really excited about getting this video out, so I went ahead and tested the paint markers I got from the store. I was really disappointed with how they looked in this journal. That is not the journal's fault at all. These markers are just simply not very good quality. So I tried this Craft Smart metallic teal and looked really dull, but it did sort of pop against the black. I found these other paint markers from Hobby Lobby, and writing with them, they do seem to pop a little bit more, but I'm having to really add in some layers. It really just looks spotty. I'm going to add this Jane Davenport Squid ink in gold. This is one of my favorite materials to use. I just love the way that it shimmers on paper. I'm kind of surprised that I'm having to add several layers, but I guess things become more noticeable against a black background than they do a white background. But it's still a good product. I would definitely buy it, and it looks really good, nice and shimmery on this black. Let's try the Palette Pastels by Jane Davenport. They are really popping on this paper. I absolutely love the way they look. It looks even better on the black than it does in any of my white journals. So let me give you an example of how I use these palette pastels. I'm going to do a quick little doodle, just adding a bit of purple, And now a little bit of pink, and this is going to be kind of like a galaxy universe haze. So let me take these Jelly Roll metallic pens. I'm going to draw a planet, ring around it, another little small planet, and let's add a few stars, shooting star, and there you go. This is a space doodle, and the Pallet Pastels just gave the background a little bit something extra. Now that the paints have dried, let's check how they did. This looks really good. There's absolutely no bleeding and no ghosting. I mean, it's gonna be pretty hard to find something that will ghost on black paper. I can feel a little bit of the pen markings, especially with the planet that I drew. But other than that, there's really no sign that anything has been written on the other side of this paper. So all in all, I think this is a really great notebook. Scribbles That Matter, you did a really great job on this book. I'm really excited to use it this upcoming year. I'm excited about getting even more pens and markers to use in it and seeing what creations I can come up with. This is going to be a lot of fun to have. It is a great product, very good quality paper, and I think the price point is pretty good too. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you're interested in more bullet journal tutorials and reviews, be sure to press that subscribe button and press that notification bell.